Office, Nigeria State of Indebtedness 2015. As of 2015, this is a PDF document from the Debt Management Office. Nigeria was owing a total of $63 billion. That's it here. I don't know if your camera can catch it. Now, when Buhari was leaving office, this is from the Debt Management Office. This is not from me. The Debt Management Office was set up by law. We've got people who are apolitical there. They are not members of the PDP, APC, or ADC. Buhari left office, and this is how much we are owing. On the last day of Buhari leaving office, $113 billion. Now, as of today, this is from the Debt Management Office, our debt has gone from $113 billion to $97 billion, meaning that Bola Tinubu has reduced our debt by over $14 billion. We should be appreciating this man. Yet, Peter Obi came here and lied to the Nigerian people. What did he do? Very manipulatively. He took the debts and then he now translated them into Naira to make it look like the debts have increased. Because don't forget, the Naira has been floated. So today, the Naira is trading at 1,531 Naira to the dollar. So when you now multiply that by what we're owing today, which is $97 billion, it looks as if our debt has gone up in Naira value. But don't forget, these were debts that were taken in dollars, mostly Euro bonds, debts from China, France, and from the Bretton Woods institution. Peter Obi came here and lied, and he told more lies than that. He also lied concerning Nnamdi Kanu. He said... Just for a moment, let's stay on the debt issue. Yes. Our debt as it stands in 2015, in 2015 actually, the debt was around 12 trillion. This is the total of foreign and local debts. Yes. But as of end of 2024, our debt has risen to 138 trillion. Is that right? That is right. Do you agree with that figure? That is correct. So it then means that by April 2025, there are indications that Nigeria's total debt is of 162 trillion naira. Now, if you look at it, it is a fact that we added a bit of debt. No, from 2023 and 2025. No, that's not accurate. We see you have to understand this. This is economics, and I have a master's in international banking and finance law from England. Let me explain it to you. I'm going to give you and the public a little education on this. When you're taking a debt, from, for example, a Eurobond debt or from China. It's in dollars. It's not in Naira. So that debt is stable. Now, you have the Naira is floated. So because the Naira is floated, the Naira is not stable because it's being driven by the laws of demand and supply. So in 2015, when our debt was 12 trillion Naira, the value of the Naira, it was pegged at 196 Naira. So when you multiply that, that's why you get 12 trillion. If you take that same amount of money and multiply it by today's value of the Naira, which is 1,531, it's not going to be 12 trillion. It's going to be something like maybe about 100 billion. Something close to that. So when you're taking General Buhari's debt, when he left office, it was $113 billion. Now, you're not multiplying it by what it was today. You're multiplying it then to get that figure by what the value of the Naira was then, which was between 440 and eventually about close to 700. And that's how you got that amount. Today, the Naira is 1,531 Naira. So when you multiply that, the dollar amount, which is 97 billion, multiply it by that, it makes it seem as if our debt has exploded. Are you saying that Tinubu government did not borrow any money? Tinubu government has borrowed money, but they've also repaid money. So, for example, we were owing the IMF. We are no longer owing the IMF at all. What we are actually paying to the IMF right now is what they call drawing rights. A drawing right is just like if you have a MasterCard. If you have a MasterCard, even if you pay your American Express or your MasterCard off, you're still going to be paying a yearly annual fee as a member. So our total indebtedness to the IMF has been paid, and it's actually there on the IMF's... So the question that a lot of people will be asking is that you want to paint it as though Tinubu government is not getting any loan, but they are actually. Yeah, they're getting loan. It's just like what the governor of Zamfara said to you. People are leaving the PDP. People are joining the PDP. Yes, this government is taking loans, and this government is also paying loans. So the government is paying more loans than they are taking. That is why our debt has reduced. So let's ask ourselves a question. Just remember, okay. Let's ask ourselves a question. What currency do we produce? What currency? In Nigeria, in what currency do we produce? We produce in the Naira. In Naira. Yeah. So if we are going to convert and pay any debt,
Are we not going to take that same naira to convert it to dollar to pay our debts?
That doesn't make sense. If you're taking a domestic debt, then that's when that happens, because you're taking a domestic debt in naira.
But when you're paying, whichever currency that you take the debt, you are paying in that currency.
Yes.
But I am saying to you, your earnings is mostly in what? In your local currency.
Well,
your wealth.
If you look at our earnings, that's not quite accurate. You see, you have to understand, a lot of people don't realize this. Only 15% of Nigeria's GDP is oil and gas. However, oil and gas is more than about maybe something like 75% of our foreign exchange earnings. So we are earning in dollars. For example, even if you're going to the port, the Nigerian Ports Authority, the Nigerian Ports Authority is earning in dollars. So we have a lot, we're earning in dollars. But the point I'm trying to make, Seun, let's not complicate things for your audience. If you borrow from a Nigerian bank in naira, you pay back in naira. If you borrow from the Eurobond or from China or from France or from the Bretton Woods institutions in dollars, you pay back in dollars. As at today, our total indebtedness has actually reduced. It has reduced from $113 billion to $97 billion. Peter Obi came to your program and lied. That was a lie. It was an economic sabotage to Nigeria. And the man knew this. If he did not know that, that means he's ignorant, and that means that he shouldn't be running for office. He also told other lies. He told lies about Nnamdi Kanu. He was asked a question by you, and he said...
No, I don't want us to go yet away from economy.
Okay.
The economy of this country, the productivity level of this country, there are major levels of the economy that have been weakening or troubled. One is the capacity of production, which inflation and the rest, all major indices of our economy are in the negative.
That's not true.
I said major of our economy indices are in the negative.
Well, that's not true again.
Okay.
I mean, I deal in fact. I don't deal in opinions.
So let's look at it. What are your unemployment figures?
Well, the unemployment figures in Nigeria has actually improved. Now, please, allow me to land. Okay. But the major thing you want to talk about, you talked about production. We are not talking about now. When you're talking about production, in Nigeria, we have a surplus of $14.1 billion. That has never happened before. What that means is that we are now exporting more than we are importing. That is a major plus. Not just that, we had a 3.84 GDP growth rate last year. When did we have that? We had 2 recessions under Buhari. Have we had a recession now? And not just that, if you look at it now steadily, the inflation rate has been reducing. That's because the policies put by this administration are working.
After the rebasing.
Yeah, no, the rebasing has not happened. The rebasing is going to happen. I think the rebasing is coming up next week, they said.
But what was the inflation rate when Bola Tinubu got into office and now?
Well, the inflation rate when Bola Tinubu got into office was quite high under Buhari. I think what you're trying to talk about was the inflation rate under Jonathan, which was at single digits. So let us focus on production, because you talked about production. The best factor to gauge production is your trade surplus, because that's what is that's what. So
in your own view, you think that the economy is doing better under Bola Tinubu?
It's not on my own view. I'm talking about the facts. The facts are there. We are exporting.
Where were we pre-Bola Tinubu and now?
Yeah, pre-Bola Tinubu and now, our debts have reduced. Our production has increased. The all-share index of the Nigerian Stock Exchange has hit 3 times all-time high. As a matter of fact, last year, we overtook Argentina as the most profitable stock market in the whole world. Right now, we are the 2nd most profitable stock market in Africa after Zimbabwe.
What do you say to our exchange rate?
Our exchange, and see, that is the thing. That is a form of the economic illiteracy of a lot of people. Our exchange rate has never been 196 or 400 naira. At that time, our exchange rate was being subsidized. People make the mistake. They forget that the subsidy on the naira was actually higher than the subsidy on fuel. We were spending about $1 billion every month on fuel, but we were spending $1.5 billion every month to subsidize the naira. And that was what was keeping the naira at that rate. It was not the real value of the naira. When Bola Tinubu came in, he said, no, that cannot happen, because we were not using that subsidized naira to do things that were going to be valuable for the economy.
Please let me land. Mr. Omokri.
No, please let me land, please. We were using that, we were freaking it away. So he said, this is what happens in America, this is what happens in the United Kingdom. We are going to float the currency and allow the laws of demand and supply determine the naira rate. That is not devaluation, that is flotation. Devaluation is when, like what happened in Egypt, you peg your currency at, say, maybe 200 Egyptian pounds to $1. And then you come out and say, okay, no, I'm going to now peg it at 400. That is devaluation. What happened in Nigeria is flotation. And that is now, the market is now determining the Naira's value.
So in your own analysis, and you say that the economy has done better under President Bola Tinubu in the last 2 years, but what happens to the purchasing power of the average person? What happens to the livelihoods of the average person? What happens to the ability of the person to be able to feed and transport?
Well, should we continue to go into debt because we want to now start to give our